get your hate mail ready. I mean, really, get tapping on your keyboards, get writing the comments, get ready to pan me down, because here it is. I personally don't think that Fant4stic was that bad. I mean, it's by no means good, but considering all the bad superhero movies we've put up with over time, with all the good ones we've had, with all the few bad apples, I personally don't think that Fant4stic was that bad. I mean, compared to some of the others. I mean, from what I was told, the problem with that movie was that Fox didn't actually want to make it. They had a big hit coming up on their hands with their Deadpool movie, which I saw at the beginning of the year and is awesome. But they were required to do that movie in 2015 because, due to the deal that they had, if they haven't done anything with the property in 10 years, then the property automatically reverts back to Marvel. So they didn't want to make the Fantastic Four movie, but they had to in order to hang on to the property. Some people may ask, well, why didn't they just sign it over if they didn't want to do anything with it? Well, that's a question for another time. The thing is, they hadn't done anything with the character since their 2007 movie Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which sadly had never gone anywhere. So they had to do something, and so they put Fant4stic together, and I'll be honest, considering the kind of previous 10 years outings, I actually think it was maybe not good, but you know what, it had its good moments. I mean, the main problem with superhero movies that everyone regards as bad is that they end up being too comedic or too comical. I mean, the previous Fantastic Four movie, that's kind of a point now, because the Thing plus Chris Evans as the Human Torch, it just seemed a little too comedic, whereas with something like Fant4stic, it's hardly comedic at all, because it's got its humorous places, but most of it is properly serious, and that's where I think it actually did pretty good. I mean, it's the same for other movies that kind of people regard as bad. Spider-Man 3, for example, it suffered from a couple of too many comedic scenes, such as Peter's Venom dancing, which a lot of people regard as just very, very bad. And it's not just with Marvel as well. With Joel Schumacher's two Batman movies, the reason why a lot of people regard they failed is because they tried to make the Dark Knight too comical, too comedic. So with everything that's going on, and with all the comedic bad superhero films that are around, what's the overall thing with the Fant4stic? Well, there are, I think, a few actually good parts to it. I mean, like I said before, they don't go full-on comedy with this. I mean, they do actually try and do it properly serious, which they could have just banged out any old stuff and probably got away scot-free. Maybe in bringing in a little bit of money, which I think they did with it. But for what we got, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, compared to the previous year's outing, I personally thought the interpretation of the Thing was a lot better here, because when I read and saw the Thing and everything, I always imagined him to be like kind of rock, kind of heavy rock, literally just covered or made out of rock. But while the effects for the 2005 version were good at the time, looking back on them now, I think, to me, it just looked a little too perfect, a little too sculpted, like it had been made in an artist studio, whereas with something like Fant4stic, I could genuinely believe that thing was from another world, or, in this case, another dimension. Now, one of the main problems that this movie, that Fant4stic had, was that it deviated quite a lot from the source material. For example, they don't go into space this time, they go to another dimension. I'll admit that's a problem. But the movie does have some good sides as well. I mean, as I said, the Thing is very good, and for people to complain about Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch. Compared to Chris Evans' overly comical appearance for 10 years earlier, I personally feel Michael Jordan was alright. I mean, he's not the typical Human Torch in the comics, but we have to be willing to change. I mean, later this year we're getting Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One in the Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, we're going to a female Ancient One. And, well, we have to be open to change in order to make things work. So, I didn't mind Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch. I actually thought, that's pretty good. But, yeah, for what they gave, Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell, I personally think they did alright. I mean, like I said, Fant4stic is in no way good, but for what we could have got from a studio that didn't even want to make this film, I think we've had worse in the past. Yeah. So, it's really up to certain people. I mean, I personally don't think it's that bad. I mean, there are people who disagree with me and critics who have practically torn this film to pieces, but again, for what we could have got, and what we did get, I feel we did okay. Someday, maybe 20 years, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, we'll get a good Fantastic Four movie. Maybe we're just not meant to get it yet. That's my thoughts. See ya.